Hello everyone. This is my Cyclistic Bikeshare case study for the Google Data Analytics Professional Certification. Just a little bit about me and my background and who I am as a person. My name is Justin Gould and I hold a bachelor's degree in finance where I competed on the track and field team throughout the course of college, and I also have a background in data analysis. So just a little bit about how I got interested in data analysis and got drawn into pursuing this certification was an internship that I was a part of about a year ago. I was given the opportunity to create dashboards for some of the stakeholders within a company, where I really piqued an interest inside of myself that really showed me that I really enjoyed doing data analysis. Just the process of gathering large amounts of data, cleaning it, searching for data integrity, and then putting the data together in a visual format to be able to bring insights to stakeholders was something that I really enjoyed doing. I realized that this also went really well with my personality and some of my own interests in my personal life, such as my track and field career. I realized I had already kind of been an analyst in more ways than one. For example, I would take apart increments of my track and field races and analyze those to be able to help myself run a faster track and field race. So I realized that data analysis is not too much different from a lot of the analysis that I had been doing throughout my sports career. So jumping right into the presentation here, first I just want to take a second and say thank you to each and every one of you for giving me a little bit of your time today to just showcase some of the work that I've done throughout this case study these past couple of weeks. So just running through the table of contents here. First, we're going to be covering the stakeholders. The main stakeholders that this analysis is really important to, and who we really want to direct some of the visuals and some of the analysis that I ran on this company towards. Next, we're going to move on to the background and definitions. This is just going to define some of the definitions within the case study that I believe are important to bringing more insight as to what the case study is and kind of giving you a little more background as to what it is that I'm talking about. Next is the project scope, which will also be kind of piggybacking on the next slide, the case study objective, which will really just tell you what this case study is all about. Next is going to be the data integrity, which will also piggyback into the data cleaning and manipulation slides, which will show you what are the procedures that I ran on the data, what are some of the analysis procedures that I covered, and how did I get to some of the conclusions that I got to. Next will be the analysis tools. The analysis tools slide will just show you which analysis tools I chose for my analysis. And then moving on will be the visuals. The visuals will be the real heart of this data analysis project, and it'll really show you some of the insights that I was able to uncover, which will piggyback into the key takeaways slide, which will show you some of the main takeaways that I'd like anyone who's watching this presentation and the stakeholders to walk away with. Next will be the call to action, which will answer the question of what do I do with this information. This will help the cyclistic company to gain more profits and gather more insight as to what it is that makes casual members differ from annual members. All right, so moving forward here, the key stakeholders, the top three that I really just want to point out today are the Director of Marketing, Lily Moreno, who happens to be my supervisor as well as a data analyst here at Cyclistic, the Marketing and Analytics team. These are going to be the guys that give the yes to the new promotion strategy that I'm going to pose at the end of this presentation. They're a team of data analysts for Cyclistic that help to analyze and gather data for the company's marketing strategies. Next will be the executive team. This will be the team that approves strategic decisions and gives the okay to apply any insights that are given by other teams. So just a couple of important background and definitions that I'd like to point out about the case study here today. Just starting off with Cyclistic and what they are as a company. Cyclistic is a bike share company that owns a fleet of 5,824 bicycles that are geo-tracked and locked into a network of 692 stations across Chicago. These bikes can be unlocked from one station and returned to any other station at any time. So that's just a little bit of a background on what Cyclistic is as a company. Moving on, the two types of members we're going to focus on today are the casual members and the annual members. The casual members are any member who are taking advantage of the day pass or are using Cyclistic just one ride at a time. Then the annual members are going to be members who purchase the annual membership and are taking full advantage of all the benefits here at Cyclistic. So the project scope, just kind of covering what it is that this project is all about. The business goal. The business goal is to design a clear marketing strategy to turn casual members into annual members. So I was tasked with the business question of how do annual members and casual riders differ from each other? And that's going to be what my analysis today uncovers. So the case study objective that I will be centering this case study around is the goal of discovering ways that casual riders and annual members use Cyclistic differently with the purpose of converting casual riders into Cyclistic members. Our financial analyst here at Cyclistic has actually uncovered the insight that if we were able to turn the casual members into annual members, that would be where a lot of profits would start to significantly increase here at Cyclistic. So that's the main goal that we're focusing on today. All right, just jumping into the data integrity portion of this case study. First off, I gathered the data from Divvy, which is the official data source for the city of Chicago and all the bike share data that they use within the city of Chicago. Next, I selected 12 months worth of data ranging from July 2024 to June 2025 to ensure that I was really able to capture what a full year of Cyclistic member tendencies look like. I believe capturing the data from this 12-month span was the best way to do that, considering that I had access to well over 5 years worth of data. Next, to ensure data integrity, I saved the files in a CSV format to make sure that all the spreadsheets were saved in the same format. Next, I followed the ROCCC framework, which stands for Reliable, Original, Comprehensive, Current, and Cited. I ran the data through this framework that I used. First off, just ensuring that it had that reliability, making sure that all the data came from Divvy, which is, like I said, the official data source for the city of Chicago. Second, making sure that the data was all original, making sure that it was unaltered and unaffected by any viruses or anything that could have affected the integrity of the data. Third, making sure that it was comprehensive. Yes, the data followed the comprehensive part of this framework because there was plenty of the data available for the analysis that was really able to give me a comprehensive perspective as to some of the things that I was looking for. Yes, the data is also current. The data is up to date with where we're at in 2025. Some of this data is actually from 2025, so this data was able to give me a comprehensive view and a current view of the members in Cyclistic. And then lastly, this data was also cited. I was given a license from the Motivate International Incorporated, which gave me the okay to use this data and to cite this data for any part of my case study or my analysis that is necessary. Next, I combined all 12 of these spreadsheets using Microsoft Excel's Power Query, which led to me having 5.5 million rows of data throughout the course of this entire analysis. Next, to ensure that there were uniformity in all of my dates, I displayed a formatting option within Microsoft Excel using the time feature in Power Query to make sure that all of the dates had the year, month, day, and time in this particular part of the column within my spreadsheet. All right, so just moving on here to the data cleaning and manipulation portion of this analysis. I uploaded all 12 months worth of this data into Microsoft Excel's Power Query feature, and I removed the irrelevant and incomplete columns to ensure that the data was clean. Next, I used an if statement to remove any null values from the writable type column. So if I could turn your attention to the custom column visual that I have on the bottom of my screen here, You can see that I used an if statement to exclude any null values across the course of this entire spreadsheet. So what that did, just to kind of explain the formula that you see there, it returned the word false for any blank value that you would see across all 5.5 million rows of my data. So now, once I ran this, obviously I wouldn't have the time to scroll through all 5.5 million rows of data, so I used the sorting and the filtering option within Power Query. So I used the little arrow that you can see there at the top of the screen to ensure that the word false did not appear a single time across the entire column of writable type. I didn't want there to be a single row of data in there that was left empty that might affect the integrity of this analysis. Next, I used the remove duplicates feature for the start station ID column, which removed any duplicate that we might have across any of the IDs. Next, I cleaned the columns that was going to be used for my analysis using the end time and the start time. So I did an equation that subtracted the end time from the start time, which gave me the length of the ride. So what this did was it brought more insight into how long each member is using Cyclistic, and kind of gave me a little bit more insight into which type of member is using Cyclistic for what duration of time. And then next I created an AM and a PM column, which shows what hour and what times of the day Cyclistic is most frequently used. So just some of the tools that I used for analysis. I used first Microsoft Excel using pivot tables and Power Query, as I just briefly went over. Next, I used Google BigQuery and SQL. And then third, I used Tableau as well for some of the visuals within my analysis. Alrighty, so just jumping right into the data portion of my case study. First, I just want to point out that this bar chart on the screen is just a distribution of the favorite ride types, ranging from our members to our casuals. So you can see here on the visual that the most popular ride type is going to be our electric bike. So members prefer the electric bike. We have a significant increase from the electric bike to the classic bike, and then from the classic bike to the electric scooter. And that goes for our casuals and our members. So I think what's an important takeaway from this slide is to point out that the electric bike is the favorite amongst members and casuals. So next, I want to point your attention to the distribution chart that you see here on the screen. What this is showing is Sunday through Saturday, what days casual members and members are most frequently using Cyclistic. So I think something that's real interesting that's worth pointing out here is that the casual members are using Cyclistic most frequently on Saturday, Sunday, and Friday. You can see the significant spike here on Saturday, and then we see a spike here as well on Friday, and then on Sunday as well. So if we were to gather some insight from this for the marketing team, I would say pointing out that a lot of our casual members prefer to use Cyclistic on the weekends, whether that's for going out on a Friday night, going to the park on a Saturday, going to church on a Sunday. That's when our casual members are most frequently using Cyclistic. Now let's take a look at the member side of the chart. We see a lot more consistency across the board with our members. So our members are using Cyclistic Monday through Friday really consistently. And I think what this highlights is a little bit of data, a little bit of insight that I was given at the beginning of my project, which is our members most frequently use Cyclistic for leisure purposes, with a 30% count of our members using Cyclistic for work purposes. So I think this this kind of affirms that a lot of our members are using Cyclistic to commute to and from work, which I'll circle back to here on the next slide. So next, if I could turn your attention to this 24-hour distribution of the times of day versus our members versus our casuals, we can see that our casual members are not using Cyclistic a whole lot here in the AM hours. We see a gradual increase throughout the day, which I want to point out gets the most significant at 12 o'clock all the way to 6 o'clock. So between the hours of 12 to 6, we're seeing our casual riders use Cyclistic the most. So that's going to be the time when we would want to promote whatever it is we're trying to promote to increase these casual members' chances of becoming members. That's going to be the time that we would want to focus on. So next, I want to point your attention to the member side of the screen. So the members here, we can see that they're using Cyclistic from at 8 and then also at 5 p.m. So what does that tell us? Well, it tells us that the point that was made a few minutes ago on Cyclistic members using Cyclistic to commute to and from work is true. These guys are using Cyclistic on their commute. Maybe they're dropping things off or commuting to school, commuting to college, commuting to high school, whatever it might be. 8 and 5 o'clock are the two most popular times for our members. So I think that's a key difference to point out between our members and our casuals. Next, if I could turn your attention to the pie chart at the bottom of the screen, this is showing the AM versus PM usage, which shows that the PM hours have over double the usage of the AM hours. So that gives us a little more insight into what times of the day pushing promotions would be the most effective. So next, I want to turn your attention to a SQL query that I wrote in order to uncover a little bit more analysis, a little bit more depth into my analysis on the electric bikes and the classic bikes. So just running through this query real quickly, I selected the rideable types and the member casual columns, just because I believed that these two combined with the ride count would show us which of these categories of bikes is the most popular amongst our members. And then we can see down there at the bottom of the screen that, like I pointed out a second ago, our electric bike is by far our most popular product at Cyclistic. So this is just kind of a different perspective on the slide that I showed just a second ago. And then here I also have a SQL query that presents some brand new insight into which location is the most popular at across our stations. So like I pointed out at the beginning of the presentation, we have nearly 600 docking stations for these bikes. I thought it would be very important to point out which of these docking stations is the most popular, because that would give us more insight into which station we can promote Cyclistic to these casual riders and show them, I guess, where it is that we want to focus the scope of our promotions. So looking at the statement here, I combined the two spreadsheets that I was using for this portion of the analysis. I just want to point out that the past two slides you've seen that I used SQL on were not the full 12 months. They were just a sample from April of 2025 and June of 2025, which were two of the most popular months that I wanted to focus on here in the analysis. So for this query, I gathered the top 4 most popular stations, and then I ordered them by and grouped them by the type of member or casual, which type of category we were working with here. So you can see that there were 6,197 rideable types for the member casual at the Streeter Drive and Grand Avenue. The DuSable Lakeshore had 4,900 casual members there. And then the members section, Kingsbury Street had 5,500, where Clinton Street had 4,300. Something that I really want to highlight here is that you can see at the bottom of the query that I put limit 4. I did this for a reason, and that reason was that I wanted to point out that these two numbers right here are significantly higher than the third number that would have came up. So I did limit 6 at one point, and you'll see more of what I'm talking about here on the next slide. But I want to point that out, that our top two most popular stations are the most popular stations by a very large number. So just moving on, just a little bit more detail into those most popular stations. This is just showing that Streeter Drive and Kingsbury are the two most populars. Kingsbury being the most popular for members, and Streeter Drive being the most popular for casuals, and then so on down the bar chart. Okay, here I want to get a little bit more in depth onto the type of station that our casual members are choosing to station themselves at. So we have our Randolph Street and our DuSable Lakeshore as two of our somewhat popular locations amongst our casual members. But like I showed in the previous slides, our DuSable and Streeter Drive are the most popular by several thousand. So I think focusing our marketing on these two stations and maybe positioning sales representatives there would be a very wise decision by the marketing team to help increase turning casual members into members. Alrighty, so just going into some of the key takeaways that I'd like for anyone watching this presentation or just the stakeholders to take away from the insights that I've uncovered today in my analysis. First, the casual riders most frequently use Cyclistic on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Next, the casual riders most frequently use Cyclistic between 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. Next, Streeter Drive and Grand Avenue and DuSable Lakeshore and Monroe are the most popular stations by significant amounts. Next, members have more consistent station volume, while casual members prefer specific locations. And then lastly, the casual riders prefer the electric bike as well as the members. So with those takeaways, I have given my call to action here, which I believe is going to be the most profitable way to turn our casual members into members. First would be the weekend rider plan. So the weekend rider plan would be a plan that Cyclistic offers to weekend riders that is available Friday through Sunday, 11 a.m. through 7 p.m., which is the most popular days and the most popular times that we're seeing our casual members use Cyclistic. I think a good promotion strategy just based on the data would be to promote this plan through emails, promotions, through the app, maybe positioning salespeople at those two most popular stations that I pointed out between the hours of 11 and 7 p.m. when our members are most frequently coming in and out of there. I think that would give Cyclistic the best opportunity to capitalize on turning the most casual members into members. Next would be a station-based plan. So if we're seeing a lot of our casual members have favorite stations, then I think this would only lead us to believe that providing a discounted station plan that's only available at certain stations would be a great option to turn casual members into members. I think a good promotion strategy would be to offer memberships through the app, maybe offer a membership that's available to members that can choose their top 2 stations or their top 3 stations, and then also choose their drop-off station where they want to drop off the bike or the ride used. Thirdly, I just want to move on to the loyalty plan. The loyalty plan would be an option that members are given the chance to upgrade after a certain amount of rides to a membership. So if we're seeing a casual rider use Cyclistic 2, 3, 4, 5 times, why not offer them a promotion that says, hey, not only will you get your next ride free, we'll enroll you in our membership option for the amount of money that you're spending using Cyclistic 1, 2, 3, 4 times a month without taking advantage of our membership. So I think the loyalty plan would be a great plan for those casual riders that haven't yet committed, but they know that they enjoy the product. So I think offering them a coupon to their first month of Cyclistic would be a great option to turning these casual members into riders. Well, I just wanted to say thank you once again for your time and just giving me the opportunity to present my full case study and my data analysis on the Cyclistic Bikeshare case study, where I was able to answer the question of how do Cyclistic members and casual riders differ from one another, which will lead Cyclistic to turn casual riders into members to increase the profits within Cyclistic. Thank you.